Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm actually going to be walking you guys through how I would list an iPhone that I would be selling on eBay. And that iPhone is actually going to be an iPhone 8 Plus. So I'm going to go through all the specs, I'm going to go through the listing and show you guys exactly what I would do to create a successful listing that's going to sell fast on eBay. So with that said, let's get into the video. So as you guys can see, I'm actually going to show you exactly on my screen what I'm going to be doing and how I would list an eBay listing for an iPhone 8 Plus. So actually one trick, obviously you're going to log into your eBay account and actually see here I search up a lot of different phones. But one thing that I like to do is I never really do a listing that is like just kind of based off of just list an item. So I always do something off of something that's already sold. So I'm actually going to list the phone that I'm going to be selling. So iPhone 8 Plus, 64GB T-Mobile. And I actually sell a bunch of these and I've sold them before. So that's why it's in my recent searches. So as we can see here, what you always should be doing is sold listings. And then see here. So it's actually brand new in the box. So I'll first go down. I'll click new. And based if it's like cracked, I would do 4 parts or not working. If it's like just used, open, I just put used, and if it's just been opened but never been used, I put new other. So as we can see here, it's 849, 761. This is a buy now. See, this is a top rated plus, so I never really take into consideration. That's pretty high. 761, 700, 700. These are brand new sealed. Yeah, I just want to make sure they're sealed. T-Mobile, so 700, 700, 700. So for me, honestly, I'm going to be listing it probably at 700. So one thing I like to do is you can see under all these titles, you can see ratings. So I'm never going to use one that that has no ratings, because if you're looking from as a buyer perspective, you want to see phones that have been rated highly, and you're going to get those ratings if you list it under a similar item. So let's just say here. So what I always do is I'm going to click sell one like this. So I could do either one like this. Or one like this, the same thing, but they did buy it now, so I should probably sell this buy it now. I know what it's going to sell for, so I'm going to do sell one like this. So let's see. Sorry, I just have to log in. So as we can see here, it pretty much autofills. So it's an Apple iPhone 8 Plus, 64GB gold. So this one's actually, it's space gray, T-Mobile, and then if you put the model number, sometimes it's better to be found. And then so UPC, I never really put, but condition, it is brand new, so I'm going to put new. And one thing I recommend you guys do, it's a basic thing for eBay and what they like to see in all their listings, is I do 5 to 6 photos every time I list a phone, because it will get better traction. The least amount of phones, eBay doesn't prefer those phones and it won't rank it higher on the page. So I always list minimum 5 to 6 because it's just something that eBay likes. So let's look at these. I'm going to click this. Let's just go all the way to here. So this I have 5 photos, and I'm going to let them upload. So I'm going to let those upload, and I never really edit them, but I have a professional studio thing that I actually take my photos in. You can kind of see that in the pictures that I'm going to be uploading. But one thing I always recommend is just put the front of the phone on as just by itself with like a smooth black or white background for all your photos, just so when people scroll through eBay listings, they'll be able to say, oh, this is actually the phone that I want right away. So right now, see, this is what the photo would show. So I'm actually going to rearrange it. So this is a good photo, but it doesn't really show the phone overall. It's kind of crooked, but I like the angle. So this is actually the one I'm going to be using. It's just plain background. It has just the phone on it. It's not touching the edges. It's pretty middle. So it's a pretty big picture. And so any photo after that, it doesn't really matter. And personally, I do not list the bottom of the phone, or if it's in a box, I don't list the bottom, because then they can see the IMEI. And there are people out there that are scam you with IMEI buttons, that will scam you with IMEI, like hacking systems, where they'll take your IMEI, use it on a different phone that was a bad IMEI, and then your phone is kind of messed up from there. It doesn't happen too often, but I've seen it happened in Nightmare Stories. So I have 5 photos, all look pretty good. That should be good for that. So usually when you list a phone like this, the nice part about this is why you do sell one like this is it's actually going to pre-fill all your things. So I just want to go through. The only thing I needed to change was it is gray. So that's the only thing that needed to change. I usually never put like any of the numbers on there. I'll only list like all these main things so people can search different key terms, and this will help you actually be in the search when they actually do it and are searching for the phone. So item description. So I make mine pretty cookie cutter. So I don't make it too complicated, and I never put sentences because nobody's here to read. They're here to buy something really quick. But obviously they want to make sure that it's legit and you're a trustworthy seller. So 1, you can do that with ratings, and 2, based on your listing. So I'm just go iPhone 8 Plus, brand, let's see, brand new. So I'm going to also put sealed in box. I just want to emphasize that this is sealed so they know it's never been broken and nobody's ever been able to touch the phone. Therefore, there's less of them chance getting scammed. So iPhone 8 Plus, I just put spaces because it just stands out a little bit more. T-Mobile, 64 gigabyte, space gray. And then let's just see what else I would put. Space gray. And then like just for people to help mitigate, I'm just gonna put phone has never been used. Plastic still sealed on top of phone. Thank you for checking out my listing. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me a message. The point of that I wrote that is honestly I'm just trying to be able to create that kind of trust connection between you and the actual buyer of the phone. It's just a little sentence like that kind of maybe put a smile on their face, but it might instill some sort of trust that you're not trying to scam them. And obviously if you're trying to scam them, they can just return it. But it's just, if there's hundreds of listings out there, so you want to make yours stand out a little bit more, because like there's probably like hundreds and hundreds of iPhone 8 Pluses, exact same phone, sealed in box, that somebody could buy for probably cheaper, and they'll probably buy it. But if there's for them to trust you over that, just even by a slight word of thank you or feel free to shoot me a message, gaining that little connection between you and the buyer, there's a chance that they're going to buy that phone over the other one that might be cheaper but looks a little bit sketchier. So pretty cookie cutter. I don't make it too complicated. I just list the specs and those little sentences. So now we're actually going to talk about actually selling it. So as I said, I know the price of this phone, and I know what I want to sell it for. So therefore, I'm going to choose a fixed price. If it's like an older iPhone and it's cracked and there's a bunch of things wrong with it, I'm just going to list it as an auction, because auction's only supposed to list if you don't really know what the phone can value for. An auction is nice because too, if you want to take the risk, obviously it's a chance that it could sell lower, because I usually start my auctions at $995. Even for this phone, if I did an auction, I start at $995 and it could sell pretty cheap, lower than you wanted. But a lot of the times it does go over what you expect. So there is that kind of up and downs of it, but you take the risk with that. But I always do 3 days, and that's just a personal preference. If you're just getting into this business and don't want to pay any fees, because I'm going to have to pay, right now I have a promotion where I don't have to pay anything, just eBay gave me that promotion, but you usually have to pay an extra $1 to do 3 days, just because why not, they can charge you on that. But if you're just a beginner, I would do 7 days. It's just for me, I go through inventory a lot, so I need that money to go and buy phones on the other end. So it's just a quicker turnaround. And I know somebody's going to buy this phone at $700 because it's going to be selling. And right now it's at night. So I usually, as I said, if you watch my other videos, I like to list between 9 and 3. So if it's between 9 and 3, I'll just select start my listing. Or if I'm just getting prepared for tomorrow, I'll schedule a start time right here. And then buy it now price. As I said, I want to do $700. And you'll see down here, you're going to see a best offer. Never click best offer. It's just another route for scammers to scam you, especially if you're trying to do a buy it now option. Never click that. It's enough about it. I never use it. Donations, I've talked about that. I never do it. Payment options, I have my PayPal email down here. Require immediate payment. This is a must. You must click this. You don't have to, but I definitely recommend it, or else you're going to have to wait a grace period for them to actually buy the phone. If they want to buy the phone, they have to put in their credit card information, and as soon as you get the money, the listing is sold. So again, it's just quicker turnaround for both me and the buyer. They're getting their phone faster. They don't have to wait. It's kind of a win-win for both of us, but it's just something that I always click. And for me, I've talked about in my other videos, I never put sales tax, and I usually put returns accepted here. They shouldn't have nothing problem with the phone, but as you can see, like I usually do, it was like 7 or 14 days money back. For right now, I'm just going to go through it. I'm not going to go through the actual what I would put, because I've had that in other videos, but I always make the buyer charge for shipping if they want to return it. And if you don't want no returns, it doesn't mean they can't return it. It just means they can't return it if they just want to buy a different item. There needs to be something wrong with that phone for them to return it. So it doesn't really affect. I've A/B tested it. I don't really know. I can't really speak for it. I haven't tested it enough if return accepted works for not, but I'm guessing it probably should. Just based on the fact that there's less chance somebody's trying to scam you if they click returns accepted. Down here, so a phone like this I can fit. I always ship mine flat rate boxes, whether it's small or medium. Medium would be something like a Apple Watch, or even you could do medium for this, but it barely fits in a these are the priority mail boxes. I have hundreds of these just laying at home because I can package them up here and just ship them out. But something like an iPhone 8 Plus sealed, it does fit in this. It barely fits. I just tape it a little bit extra. But I put $720 because that's what it costs to actually ship them. It's cheaper to ship on eBay than if you just don't make them pay shipping. If you do free shipping, you can. You just have to buy the label, and it's more expensive buying the label somewhere else than on eBay. So that's why I like to do it on eBay. $720 is not that much when somebody's buying a $700 phone. Just common sense with that. I never do local pickup. Handling time, this is a big point that I've never actually talked about in a video, but handling time, always make it 1 day. The reason is, for some reason, eBay loves that, and it gives you more chance of being a top-rated seller in the future if you continue to do this for a long time, or even if you don't make it a business, you could still become a top-rated seller. But it just gives preference to you. eBay sees that, they recognize it. There's a chance that I've heard just kind of in eBay communities that something like that has helped people raise their limits from like $500 to like $5,000. And just in one call where they tried to raise their limit. So eBay recognizes that, and it's attractive for the buyer too, because it means you're shipping the phone out next day, taking into account if it's not a weekend or a holiday, it's the next day. I don't do international shipping, and I'll make a video on settings to prevent international people from actually bidding on your items. This you don't really need to fill out, and then your item location. Just make sure that's correct, because that's where it tells you where it's going to be shipping from. So there's no fees on this, and one thing I will do is I'll preview listing, just make sure everything's correct, everything looks good on here. I have returns accepted. See, it's bold because it's obviously going to be attractive to a buyer. $720 for shipping, 30-day return. I have this. See, it just kind of stands out for some reason, because when they actually open a listing, there's all this information that's already pre-filled. As you can see, I never filled in any of this. The item specifics and stuff, but this I did, and it just stands out. It's kind of hard to find the description with all that text, so as a buyer, it definitely helps out. So I'm going to do that as the seller, help them out a little bit. So with that said, I would just list the item. Just make sure you're not going over your limit or anything. I think mine's currently at $5,000 a month, because I don't need it that high, because I only do about half or maybe even less inventory selling on eBay, because I do local markets. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave a comment down below. There might be a couple questions in here, but as I said, I'm answering every single one. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to join the family. As I said before, if you had any questions or have any video ideas, this was actually a video idea requested by subscribers, so definitely going to do it. But with that said, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video.